Hello Aquarius, and welcome to your August 2021 mid-month check-in. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded, generalized perspective. And if you would like a reading that's more suited to your personal situation or circumstances, be sure to check out the description box for the links to my website and Etsy shop. All right, let's go ahead and begin. The first card we are starting with, we have Big Bold Vision. I feel like this is coming in twofold. So part of it is that you had a vision, you had an idea, you had this sort of perspective of what you were working towards, and you were working towards it because of an epiphany or because of a premonition or just maybe an envision that you had whenever you were channeling or meditating or whatever the case may be. You've been working towards something. You had this vision that you had, and you've been doing the things, taking the steps, putting in the focus and the energy specifically for it. And you have felt that you are growing in that direction. You have experienced the fact that things are changing, things are shifting. You've been going through a transformation. You've been experiencing the transition of what was to what is, where you're headed. And it's been good, but at the same time, there's an overarching energy of also slight dissatisfaction because what you had envisioned isn't what you're seeing unfolding. And it just feels a bit disconnected. And so there's an overall sense of frustration that you're experiencing right now because you saw this thing and you've been doing all of it to see this thing come into fruition. And now what you are experiencing is some of it, but not in its entirety, and then there's some other things which doesn't feel like it's matching. And I feel like overall you're being told to just, it's okay. Even though you had seen this in vision, there are things or elements that you're experiencing right now that you may not see how it's tied in or tethered to the bigger picture, but it is in some facet. They have guided you in this direction. They have led you to this path. They have led you to how things are unfolding. Just continue to connect, continue to seek guidance for the next step whenever you feel like you're in doubt, and continue to rely on what you know, and just let yourself know that what you envisioned is still what you're working towards, but there are parts of the bigger picture that you may not know, and that's what you're experiencing right now. So don't doubt the vision, don't doubt what you're looking for, and also understand that sometimes when we have a big picture, we interpret it through the filter of our experience at that time period. And so it's not that the vision was incorrect as much as maybe your interpretation of the vision wasn't as perfect, for lack of a better word. But they're letting you know, don't lose focus on the vision, keep taking the steps, and when you're in doubt, connect for direction and guidance, but also just give yourself time to kind of look at what you're experiencing right now and see how much it can actually fit under the right circumstances, and then just know and trust that the right circumstances will be provided when it is time. But don't lose faith, don't lose hope, don't decide to just give up on the vision because it's not looking like you thought that it would, because you're still going in the right direction. Things are still unfolding as they're supposed to. You're still in the trajectory of that particular vision. We have the Hierophant to follow that up with, and I feel like that's really drawing in what I already said about when you're experiencing doubt, or when you feel like you're not quite certain anymore, this is when you're supposed to seek outside information, guidance, and direction. And this can come in many different formats. The biggest format that you should be relying on is that internal knowing that you have, the connection you already have with your ancestors, your spirit guides, and those who you have relied on to guide you up to this point. If for some reason you're beginning to feel like you need more clarity and you're getting in your own way, then you can seek other help outside of what you normally tap into. So looking at who is a spiritual coach or guide and someone who can connect you with giving you more clarity and answers, this is something that you can research. But your biggest connection is most definitely your personal gnosis, the connections you have been relying on up to this point to guide you to this point. Don't give up hope and faith and trust in your own personal knowing. If you need clarity, go ahead and seek it. And when you get that clarity, when you seek it outside of yourself, when you seek someone who does the work for people, and this all is coming in spiritually. This is all coming in from a spiritual connection sort of perspective. So if you seek for help through a coach or mentor or any sort of reader or psychic or medium, you can always verify that information with your guides accordingly. Should you feel like maybe you need more clarity on top of the clarity that you received, you can always pass this through your guides. You can also rely on your guides to guide you in the direction for hiring or reaching out to that mentor or coach that could be available to you. But again, you might need to seek outside of yourself. And this includes your spirit guides and ancestors or deities that you work with, but it also can include hiring somebody who does that work, who can help you clarify messages that you feel like you are getting, even validate some of the messages that you're getting. But this is something that you're being told you can. Don't forget that this is available to you. Should you feel like you need it, there's nothing wrong with reaching out for that. We have the Sun card, and I feel like this is just letting you know that whatever you're experiencing as you move through the month of August, you are going to experience that sense of warmth and things coming together, much like you do in the middle of summer when you get to take a vacation, when everything feels right, feels like it's coming together. This is the sort of energy that you're going to be experiencing as you end the month of August. It's not that it's going to be past as much as you're going to get an overall sense and the ability to see how it is coming together that makes you feel a bit more at peace, makes you feel a bit more like you can relax and enjoy the process as it unfolds, even when it's uncomfortable or at moments when it's uncomfortable. But towards the end of the month of August, I get the sense that you're going to feel that everything is coming together. We're following this with the 10 of Wands. I feel like despite how everything comes together, whatever it is that is making you feel like you might need clarity or making you feel like the vision that you had is not coming together, that's still going to be kind of tagging along. It's sort of going to be in the shadows of the piece of the sun, that burden that things are not coming together. You know, you have those moments where things feel like they're coming together and you're feeling great. And then, you know, the next day, all of that energy that you felt the day before dissipates and it's not nearly as bright and sunny. And so I just feel like the shadow of things feeling tedious, the shadow of things feeling like it's not coming together, the burden of it all, there's just an overall feeling heavy. It's going to be lurking in the shadows. And I feel like every time things do come together, it seems to follow with this kind of element of shadow, this specific sort of energy of a shadow. So this is something that you're going to be wading through. And it's an energy I feel like it's going to follow you into the month of September. So you're going to have moments of feeling like everything's coming together, where you feel like you can see things clearer. You feel like, your previous questions and doubts have been outshined or subsided. But whenever things sort of turn around or the sun goes behind a cloud, the shadows of the opposite is going to kind of rear its ugly head. So there's just an overall back and forth you're going to be experiencing. And some of it has to do with personal doubt and just having those moments of where you feel like even when you know you can trust your knowing, when it's not absolutely clear, you doubt your knowing. So this is going to be an internal struggle I feel like that you're going to have. Again, the Hierophant is being brought to my attention once again, letting you know that when you're going through this and experiencing this, you can tap into outside of your higher self. And that comes in many forms, including ancestors, deities, and spirit guides, as well as external forms where you have a coach or counselor or what have you that can kind of help you or guide you as you are going through this particular transition within your spiritual and how it's impacting your physical life. however it may be manifesting in the external aspect of your life. But again, I just feel like the overall energy of seeing the vision come together and then it being followed with the shadows of potentially not feeling as confident in how it's coming together, and back and forth, and how that's going to play out. It feels like that's going to go back and forth as you end the month of August, but also is going to follow you into the month of September. And you can kind of hedge that off by taking the proper steps necessary in making sure your connection to your higher self, as well as the other aspects that guide you and direct you as you're going through hard times. We have the feather, and I just heard sign. Whenever I pulled this card and put it down, I heard sign. So generally, a lot of times, feathers, for a lot of people, when they have experienced loved ones who have transitioned to the other side, feathers have a tendency to be a common sign to people. This may or may not have to do with the link that birds have as far as messengers from the other side, but that's a whole different scenario. But I feel like that plays a part right now as far as why the feather comes up. And I feel like this is coming through as a message that there's always going to be little signs, but they're so small, sometimes you may miss them. But when you see them, you know them. Trust your knowing, take that sign for what it is, and allow it to be the boost to your confidence, and allow it to continue to add to the ray of sunshine, to lighten and brighten, so that you know that the vision that you had is still big and as bold as it once was when you first received it. It's just sometimes you have to walk through the shadows. Sometimes the sun does go behind the clouds. Sometimes the sun, goes to bed at night, so to speak, and you still have to wade through and trust that the sun is still there no matter what. If you can see or feel it or not, that vision is still there. It's still available to you. It's just, there's steps, there's process. So when you're feeling down, pay attention to the signs. You know them. When you see them, you have a sense. You are very aware that their vibrancy, their vibrations, their frequencies are different. So even when you see a feather, you know that the vibrations of that feather is different when it is a sign. Same thing goes for anything. When you see numbers, or you see a certain phrase, or you hear something, or you see maybe an animal, or you see something that actually is something that you connect with your deity or your spirit guides, when you see it, you know that it means something, it comes through and it presents itself to you with a different sort of frequency or vibration that lets you know that it means something. And those are the things that you're supposed to take note of. And if you need to create a small journal, or have a tiny little notebook that you carry around with you in your back pocket or your purse or whatever the case may be, or attached to your cell phone wallet, whatever the case may be, even in your smartphone, if you carry, and most people do carry a smartphone, but even if you carry a smartphone and you open up a little file or note taking, every time you see those signs, you put them in and you take a note of it, actually physically take a note of it, and maybe write a few words that come to mind as far as what you feel about it, or what you felt, what you were thinking at the time when you saw it, what was going through your mind, what you were hoping for, what you think it means. Just, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be a huge paragraph. You can just write what you saw, the date and the time if you want to, and then write a couple words. Make a mental note of writing 3 to 5 words of what that meant to you in that moment, so that when you're experiencing moments of doubt, or when you're experiencing the shadows, you can go back and look at that note, and you might find that those little signs that seem sort of small or insignificant happen more frequently than you realize, and you are getting signs all the time to not lose faith in that bigger vision, even when you feel like it's not unfolding as you had anticipated. It's still unfolding. You're still working towards whatever that vision that you had. You had that vision for a reason. You may need to adjust what you expect or anticipate from that vision. You may even need to take time to connect, to reinterpret that vision. Do whatever it is that you do whenever you interpret things for yourself, maybe to get a better hold on what that vision was meant to be, especially with your new knowledge, how you can define that now with your new understanding and perspective. But whatever the case may be, don't lose hope in that vision. Know that it was still true, and it still stands just as true now as it did when you received it. It's just you have it might mean something different now because of your personal experience that has gotten you to this point. But don't lose faith. do the little things to help you get there. Connect to your higher self and the other avenues of connections that are available to help you guide as you move through the end of August and into the month of September. All right, that is all I have for you, Aquarius. I hope the month ends up being empowering for you, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.